Okay, so this is one of my most fun parts to try and explain to people is once they understand some theory and they understand chords and things like that, getting to them to see how this whole thing kind of fits together is really, really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the diatonic or major scale that we started with, okay? If you remember that. We had C major, and we learned chords and all this different stuff. Well, now we're going to mush all of this together into one kind of cohesive idea. Now, in order to do this, we're going to take this scale that I showed you, and we're going to lay it out so it's a bit wider. We call this a spread fingering. And I use this when I solo a lot, but it's also really nice to teach people so they can visualize the fretboard a little bit easier. So instead of playing this shape that I just did right here, we're going to take that, we're going to lay it across the guitar a bit more. So I have C. Notice how I'm starting with my first finger now. So I've got C right here. And then D I'm going to play with my middle finger. And then E I'm going to play with my pinky over here. Now, it might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but this is going to become far more important further down the line. But so we've got C, D, E, and then on the next string, I've got my first finger again, F, G, A. So I have C, D, E, F, G, A. And notice how it's symmetrical now, where before you had 2 notes on this, and then you had 3 notes here using the middle finger, and then 3 notes here using the third finger. So it was fine, but it's not very symmetrical for memorization, where now all of a sudden you've got these two strings that are exactly the same shape. And then we end by putting this finger up on the 9th fret. This is B, and then C. Okay, now with that, what we're going to do is we're going to take these notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to learn some theory behind that that's going to set you up not only for blues but for a lot of things to come, but most certainly for blues. So what we're going to do is from each one of these 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right now we're not going to worry about 7, and then 8 is just the octave, of course, which we already talked about. We're going to learn how to play a chord from each one of those. So if you were in the key of C major, you're getting 7 different notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hence the name diatonic, okay? But you're also going to get 7 different chords. And these chords are going to create chord progressions that we use in blues and pop music and rock music and metal and everything else. Okay? So what we want to do is learn how to play a chord on each one of these notes that we're playing, and we're going to focus on these first 6 because those are the most important ones. So we're going to learn to play a chord on C, and a chord on D, and a chord on E, and a chord on F, and G, and A, and then to a lesser degree B, and then C is just an octave. So what happens here is, I'm going to make this again very easy for you. When you're in a major key, the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, okay, you get 7 different notes, but 6 of those notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are core functional chords that you use all the time, okay? And here's how it works. If we're in the key of C, we have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. We want the first 6 are the ones we want to focus on. The first chord, the 4th chord, and the 5th chord are always major in a major key. 1, 4, 5. You may have heard that before, and if you haven't, you're going to hear it a lot coming up. 1, 4, 5. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord are always major. So let's look at this once. So if I'm in the C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. C, F, G. So I'm going to play C major, F major, G major. Right? There's just a million songs that are written with those 3 chords right there. 1, 4, 5. And what I'm doing is I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. Now, let me just zoom your brain out for a second here. The 1-4-5 is the single most common chord progression used in the history of popular music, not pop music like Justin Timberlake, although he uses it too, just pop music in general, the 1-4-5. Now, what's cool about this is you're learning how it's coming from the scale. You're learning that in a major key, the 1 and the 4 and the 5 are always major. So you're learning how to visualize it, okay? But let's take a step back and visualize it even bigger. We learned how that major scale was movable anywhere we wanted to go. Well, this thing I just did right here, spreading it out, is movable wherever we want to go too. So if I want to go down to A, or G, or F sharp, I can do the same thing. Therefore, the 1-4-5 that I'm learning about right now is also movable anywhere I want to go. But I don't really need to necessarily visualize the entire scale to do so. I just want you to see how this works. Okay, but think about this. Here's C right here, and F is underneath it, the 4 chord is underneath it, and then the 5 is 2 frets higher. 1, 4, 5. So if we want to be in the key of A, if I move down to A, 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. Or if I want to be in the key of G, 1, 4, 5. With the key of F sharp, 1, 4, 5. Now we're getting closer to blues and 1,000 other things. You're learning how to visualize the 1-4-5, but you also understand that it's coming from a scale that you can also visualize on your fretboard. 1-4-5. Now this 1-4-5 is what creates the blues that we're going to be talking about. Again, it creates all kinds of different things. But I need you to kind of just slow down and try and understand that. So you can see how I'm playing these 3 bar chords, these 3 major bar chords in the key of C. 1, 4, 5. And the name 1, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5, 4, 5. They're coming from the roots of this scale that I'm playing. Okay? So I want you to absorb that a little bit and understand how that's movable. Because the scale is movable, so are the chord qualities that are going with it. Okay? Hey, it's Steve Stine from GuitarZoom, and I'd like to invite you to get early bird access to claim one of 500 GuitarZoom golden tickets on Black Friday. Now, there are only 500 available, and they will sell out. So if you're one of the lucky guitar players who snags a GuitarZoom golden ticket, you're going to get instant access to every guitar course and masterclass that I've ever created for a huge Black Friday discount. Think of it as a GuitarZoom all-access pass. You're going to get all my courses, masterclasses, jam tracks, tab books, and more. Now, there are only 500 available, and they will sell out, so click the button near the video to get in on the early bird list and get a 1-hour head start to claim your GuitarZoom golden ticket for Black Friday.